Hey everyone, this is going to be a guide for trading rounds for Double Day. So pretty much everything you need to know in order to do trading. So if you're top runner, you'll probably know most of this, but also noticed that some people don't know about sleeping immediately in Lapis List, so I'll talk about that. Right, so your trading route is going to be determined by three things mostly. First is whether you have a stand near your village. So this is my PV seed, and I have a stand here. Second is whether you go Nether first or Monument first. And third is whether to do the Lapis route, which costs 26 emeralds, or Lapis List, or Lapis Skip, which is 22 emeralds. So if you have a stand in your village, you should try to um, convert your cleric at the remember to click redstone trades immediately. Remember to click the redstone trades individually instead of shift clicking, or you won't get the gold discount. I also started clicking the redstone trades with right click instead of left click, which I find makes it harder to accidentally punch the villager. So if you do that often, you should try right clicking. So yeah, convert your cleric. This is also a good reason to front load emeralds at your village if you have a stand, since converting your cleric at the village will save a decent amount of time later on. If you don't lock in your cleric at the village because either you don't front load or the hostage you take is a different job, or you just forget, try to convert it later on in the run. And also try to convert it at an island or a piece of land. This is also going to save time later on since you'll have to dock instead, which can lose a decent amount of time. So if you forget it, just put your stand down and then do the rest of the trades. So shouldn't take too long. Alright, so let's talk about monument first. So for stand runs, it's preferred to go to a monument first. Although if you come across a magma ravine and you have enough iron, you should still go. So once you loot the monument, get your 8 gold blocks. Do the first trade by shift clicking. 4 lapis. And then, well, I didn't get it, but then you want to get your pearls. So if you just get 10 emeralds, maybe you only front loaded 10 emeralds and you didn't get any in shipwrecks, you'll end up with 2 pearls. But sometimes you'll get more, in which case you can just shift click the pearls. The one case where you can't is if you have 36 or more emeralds. Then shift clicking will give you 9 pearls, and then you lose a discount on day 2. So you go nether, you go to mine first, do your trades, and then go nether. And having pros pre-nether is really helpful because first you'll get to know if you got 1/3 or not pretty early on in the run. It's usually going to happen you're usually going to do your monument around 4 or 5 or 6 minutes. And then enter nether around 7 minutes, maybe 8 minutes for a world record run. So having pros is also really good because you can pearl hang in the nether, which can save a decent amount of time. If you have, say, 5 or more pearls, you should pearl hang pretty much every nether, unless it's extremely close and pearl hang doesn't make any sense. If you only have like 2 or 3 pearls, you should only really consider pearl hanging if the fortress is far, in which case it can still make your nether pretty good and can save a lot of runs. So you get your rods. And then once you leave the nether, you want to sleep immediately. This is extremely important. I'm going to be emphasizing this throughout the run, throughout the video. So sleep immediately, and once you surface, you can immediately craft your eyes and throw an eye. That was a bad demonstration. It's not too good of an idea to throw an eye underwater. then you might have to mess around with the boat. So just get the boat and throw 9. Right, so that's stand monument first. Okay. Next I'll talk about stand nether first. So being able to pearl hang and getting pearls pre-nether is pretty good, but if you come across a monument, if you come across a ravine, you should still go. The one case where you should go monument first over nether first if there's a ravine like right next to the monument. So in that case you have a choice, but otherwise it's better to go nether first, because if you can't find the ravine after the monument, it can lose quite a bit of time, or even kill the runner. Right, say you go nether first on a stand run. You want to sleep immediately. And while you're in bed, you should look at the RTA, or after you get out of the bed, maybe micropause and check the IGT, and then calculate in your head what 140 after that means, which is going to be pretty important. So leave nether and then go to your monument. If you don't have a monument in sight when you're entering nether, you should probably enter like maybe 4 or 5 minutes. If you do have a monument in sight, entering 5 or 6 minutes is also fine. So you leave your monument, your gold, and then you can do trading as usual. So that's pretty straightforward, and I'll go over standless runs now. So not having a stand can sometimes cost a lot of time, but in some runs it's only like a 5 or 10 second time loss, since it's one extra rod, and also if you have to dock using pillar or some weird setup, that can also cost a decent amount of time. So let's say you're on a sandwich run, you're going monument first. Then after the monument, go nether and get 7 rods. After you leave nether, remember to sleep immediately, which is pretty important. And then you're going to have to do a docking setup, which is usually going to be a pillar right next to your ravine. If there is an island immediately next to your ravine, or actually immediately next to your villager, then you should dock there instead. But most of the time, you're making a pillar. One small thing, it's usually a good idea to just collect kelp randomly throughout the run. Usually I do this by, when I'm going down to the shipwreck, I just randomly break kelp. Or when you're boating, you can also sometimes punch kelp that's high up. Right. So there are 4 main pillar docking setups. So this one is pretty much the first one we found. Fun fact, Pingu and I came up with this setup independently. It's kind of funny. But the setup is sort of outdated now. I suspect that the drop block bug problem that was in Ontricus's 840 iThrow is caused by this setup. Has some problems. Also, sometimes the villager won't get the job for some reason. But this can still sometimes be useful if there's a lot of drowns around. Yeah, so if you're not in the water, the drowns won't target you. This setup's kind of bad though, in general. Yeah, so this is a general rule of thumb. If you see the moon or stars during a double day run, you're most likely doing something wrong. There are a few niche cases where it doesn't matter to sleep immediately, but So in order to emphasize this, I'm just going to tell you to sleep immediately every time, which is really important. Right, so this is a setup that some people like to use. I don't really like it too much because it's annoying to align the boat. But if you're making your pillar and then you run out of blocks, this can be pretty good. Um, and in order to break the sand, you want to swim into the air of the sand. Um, this setup is the most popular one. It's convenient and it's pretty easy to align the boat. You just need to press up against the sand like that. Um, shoot. The one problem this one has is if you break the sand, there's a chance that the sand will just go randomly somewhere. That can cost a decent amount of time. And this last setup, with a slab is probably the best setup, but you won't have a slab most of the time. This is pretty similar to the previous one, except the sand is above water. So when you break it, it's probably not going to fly out everywhere. Right, so that's Monument first, Stainless. So I'll talk about Monument, Nether first, Stainless next. This is the preferred route for Stainless. You want to try to enter Nether early on in the run. So go Nether super immediately. And then the reason why going Nether first is good because most of the time you'll be able to dock at an island or land. Pretend this is an island. Most of the time you'll be able to dock somewhere convenient before going to the monument. Right, so dock, do your 10 redstone trade, and then do the monument. Then you'll be able to do the rest of the day when trading pretty much the same as in the stand run. You won't have to dock again. And then throw an eye. You can go. If you do end up doing monument first in a standless run, and then going nether. Oh wait, I got that wrong. If you go nether first in a standless run, and you aren't able to dock somewhere between the between nether and the monument, say your ravine was pretty close to the monument, then you'll have to dock somewhere after leaving the monument. If there's a close island nearby, that's usually the best place to dock, but sometimes you'll still have to do a pillar setup, and that can be pretty slow because one pillar setup is usually pretty slow and can lose like anywhere from 5 to 10 seconds. And if you dock an island, say there's an island here, sometimes the direction of your eye might be like in the complete opposite direction of um, the direction you went for your island. So I guess I'll talk about Lapisless now, which is 22 emeralds, slightly cheaper than Lapis Route, which is 26. This is usually going to happen if you go Nether first and then go to your monument. But also sometimes happens if you go to your monument and then Nether, but then don't have enough emeralds, don't have 10 emeralds to start trading yet. This is also why you are able to see immediately after leaving Nether, which is actually a pretty recent discovery about 3 months ago. Looking found this. So basically the idea is you can still do day one trading on day two after 140 after sleep in Lapisless. So first case is if you have a sand run, Or you just end this run and dock on an island somewhere between the ravine and the monument. Um, then you have a choice whether to do lapis or lapisless. Um, get a villager for this. Okay, so lapisless is pretty good because it saves 4 emeralds, which can sometimes kill a run. So you should prioritize doing lapisless if you're low on emeralds, and also if you're in the stronghold ring, because you usually want to play for close ocean exposed stronghold, and in that case you might not have enough shipwrecks to get all your emeralds. So you convert your cleric either at an island for a standless, at your village for a stand run, and then loot the monument. And now this is why it's so important to check what time it is 1:40 after sleep. Because if it's like if it's already 1:40 after sleep after your monument, which is usually gonna happen if you leave Nether decently far from the monument, and you sleep immediately. So then you want to do your gold trade and either do pillar docking or dock on an island. Now is the time to trade it. Do your gold trade, dock at pillar and island. Do another gold trade. Yeah, so this is why you don't have to do lapis. Then do your last gold trade. And then after this, you don't have to dock anymore, which is also quite nice since usually you have to do multiple sets of trades. Maybe like you lock in your cleric, and then you do lapis trades, and you throw an eye, and then do day 2 somewhere else. For lapises, you only need 1 or 2 times. You only need to trade 1 or 2 times. Throw an eye, and then block. There's also a scenario where you didn't have, or you weren't able to dock, and you're leaving Nether after 1:40 after sleep. In which case you have to do have an annoying setup. We call it distance docking. So the problem with doing lapisless, or just doing day 1 trades in general after 1:40 after sleep, is that if your villager works before you traded your first gold trade and the redstone trade, then the route's pretty much broken. And the run's pretty much dead. So here's the pillar setup for lapisless. You can place your brewing stand on that block, and then do your redstone and your gold trades. And then you want to break this block and then boat forward. Oh no, it's not time yet. And then you can get your 2 restocks and then throw a 9. The other setup for this, other 2 setups are on land. Which is, that setup is a little inconvenient because you have to do a bunch of weird stuff. So if there's a close island, you should go to that instead. It's actually really convenient to do this on an island. You just need to place it a bit of a distance away from the cleric. So like, if you place the stand like here, here, or here, or here, it can restock, or can work. which will kill the rot. I usually just placing it anywhere a bit farther away is fine. And then you can break the stand and place it closer. It'll restock. And one other way to do this is you dock right here. Place your breeding stand like over there. And then you won't have to break and replace it. You can just boat over. You can also sort of convert this into a pillar setup. This method by putting a sand there and then going here. But this is also a little bit annoying. Also work. Although I prefer that setup over there. Right. And you should also generally do lapisless. If you get a pearl from Nether Enderman, in which case you don't need to do lapis trades to get pearls pre day 2. Which is basically the only reason the 4 lapis trades are done is so you can get a pearl and throw an eye early. And the other case where lapisless is useful is in Stronghold first. This is also why you're able to sleep as soon as possible in Stronghold first. And there's a good chance you'll have to do a lapisless stocking setup. Right. So I guess I'll maybe go over some timing. If you're going monument first, you usually want to loot your monument around 5 or 6 minutes and enter nether around 7 or 8 minutes for a world record. If you're going nether first, might have actually already talked about this, but I'll go over it again. If you're going nether first and you don't see a monument, try to enter around 4 or 5 minutes. If you do see a monument, entering 5 or 6 minutes is fine. And then leaving nether around 8, 9, 10 minutes. And then looting your monument. And then eye throws are pretty much the equivalent of blind times in 1.16. The only problem is that eye throws are extremely variable based on how far you're away from the origin. So in general, for world record, you want to throw your eye sub 1230. 10xx eye throws are pretty much what you want to aim for. If you get that consistently, you have a good shot at getting world record. But I think it's still a good idea to play out like sub 13-minute eye throws. Marco's record is 12:52, which pretty much shows that that's the limit, or that's the latest eye throw time you want. Because he got what, like 151 split from his eye throw 2 entering the end. Pingu's record is a 9:33, which is really good. There maybe only been a dozen or so sub 10 eye throws, and like half of them are from Pingu. And the best eye throw is 840 from Ontricus. Okay, so I'm going to talk about day 2 trading now. Lapis is technically day 2, but that's its own thing. So after you throw your eye, go in the direction of the stronghold. This is one of the really good things about double day. So you can throw your eye really early, and then be heading to the stronghold, and preferably doing day 2 trading above the stronghold at 12:12, which is the earliest time you can do day 2 trading, assuming you slept at 10:27, which is earliest possible sleep. So keeping the what 140 after sleep means in mind, you're going to want to try to dock at an island right after 140 after sleep happens. Which, just like in the case of Sandless and Nether first, docking on an island saves time. In the best case scenario, you're going to be there's going to be an ocean exposed stronghold. If you don't dock an island at an island, you might have to do a pillar setup at the stronghold. Just going to lose time. So there's a couple setups to dock on land. Already sort of showed some of them. There's this setup, which I know Pingu likes this setup, but I've noticed some problems with it sometimes. He uses this in his 1618 at the end for day 2. You can also do this, which is sort of a variant of the setup. Not sure if this guy. Yeah, I think he restocked. So do your first set. Then during the 15 seconds between the 2 restocks, you want to task overlap that time. Most of the time, like if you're docking on land and the ocean just ended, most of the time you're gonna want to do a distance estimate. You can also craft iron armor, which can actually be pretty useful if you're above an exposed stronghold, but the portal room isn't exposed. Since there's gonna be a lot of mobs since it's an ocean stronghold. You can also craft an iron sword if you want to do that. If you're donged, this is the best place to do death reset. Oh, I hate the restocking. What else? Yeah, in the last case where you can't do any of the other things, is mine blocks. So you should also do this in Nether. Just having blocks in general is helpful because in Double Day there aren't really too many opportunities to get blocks. Like in one of my runs a couple months ago, I was in the end. I think I entered 1421. It was a void spawn, and I didn't have enough blocks to bridge over, so I had to I had like 7 blocks, bridged over a tiny bit, and then jumped MLG on like the very bottom end island, and I got an instant diagonal Persian and missed that, so that was an issue. Yeah, I don't know why this guy isn't restocking. So after you get the second restock, get the gold, ship click all your pearls. Oh, and also if you buy your pearls after the first restock but before the second restock, you have to make sure to not buy more than 7, otherwise your prices will get jacked. And you can also use that to get more than 12 pearls. So then you can just leave the stand behind. You can also leave the villager behind if you already have 12 pearls. But sometimes you can just keep going, lose some shipwrecks, and then finish trading all your pearls. I think that's it. Yeah, that's also a demonstration of why it's important to sleep as early as possible. Just to emphasize, you do not want to be seeing the moon or stars during a double day run. You don't want the sun to set. Yeah, sleep immediately. It's very important. Yeah, I think that's it. So good luck on runs.